Welcome back to the news.
Appointed Magistrate Ranga Disanayake said in court today that Minister Rishad Badiuddin remains a suspect in the case where he is alleged to have threatened the Mana magistrate over the phone. He made this statement in response to a query made by the counsel representing the minister.
When the case was taken up for consideration today, the attorneys representing Minister Rishad Badiuddin filed preliminary objections. The lawyers charged that their client had been wrongfully accused and noted that investigations should be conducted afresh. Responding to this, the appointed magistrate noted that the minister was named as a respondent following the conclusion of initial investigations. Meanwhile, the case pertaining to the attack on the Mana Magistrate Court and damaging of public property was also taken up for consideration today. Appointed Magistrate Ranga Disanayake refused to grant bail to the 43 suspects who were arrested in connection with the incident. Both cases will be taken up for consideration on the 4th of next month. Australian attorney Mark Trowell QC and a group of representatives from the Inter-Parliamentary Union were present in court today to observe proceedings.
You're with News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
Yesterday, Action TV brought you details of the treacherous manner in which students were being transported. For 3 years, these students were able to obtain the Sisu Saria transport service of the SLTB. Under this program, 2 buses plied from the Kurulubadda and Kalingavila areas to Valikanda. Action TV pointed out yesterday that 250 to 400 students of the Valikanda Mahavidyalaya and the Asailapura Mahavidyalaya obtained their monthly season ticket for this transport service. Over the past year, these students who continued to rely on the Sisu Sarvaya program have had to face many a danger when returning to their homes after school. In the morning hours, the SLTB allocated 2 buses for the transport needs of the 250 to 400 students who make their way to school. However, over the past year, only 1 bus was allocated for the return trip.
As parents, we are afraid until our child gets down from the bus. There is no point in talking about this problem after an accident happens.
Such fears expressed by parents were laid to rest to a certain extent today as the Kadurwila bus depot took steps to deploy an additional bus to transport students returning home after school.
Today there were 2 buses for us to go home. We are happy because we didn't hear any complaints from our brothers and sisters.
The bus which is deployed by the depot today is one which plied from Valikanda to Colombo over a long period of time. With effect from today, this bus will begin its journey to Colombo each day at 4 p.m. and not from its usual commencement point of Valikanda but from the Kurlubadda area which is located 15 kilometers away.
Now taking a look at one of our headline stories, university lecturers and students commenced protest marches from 2 locations today. Both these protest marches are due to arrive in Colombo on Friday. The lecturers and students are demanding solutions to the issues plaguing the higher education sector.
A protest march led by the Federation of University Teachers Associations commenced from near the Golf Fort this morning. Another protest march commenced from opposite the University of Peradeniya led by the Inter-University Students Federation. The protest march carried out by the Federation of University Teachers Associations is scheduled to arrive in Colombo along the Gaul Road. The protest march organised by the students is due to arrive in Colombo along the Colombo-Kandy Road. Several political party representatives and trade union representatives joined the protest march led by the Federation of University Teachers Associations, which commenced from Gaul. It is our intention to take forward this program to draw the attention of those responsible for allocating funds to allocate more funds and strengthen the education sector and ensure its future. The protest march, which commenced from Gaul, passed through Ratgama and Boosa and reached Hikkadua this evening. I can clearly state that regardless of the heavy rains, we will continue this protest movement with the strength of the university lecturers. The government speaks of development, but there can be no development without intellectuals. The people on this road are the intellectuals who will create future intellectuals. We have come here to support them. This government is not dedicated to the education of children. They have not allocated the necessary funds. We will continue this struggle to ensure that our children have a brighter future.
දරුවන්ගේ අධ්‍යාපනය ගොඩනගාගෙන හෙට දවසේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට හොඳ දවසක් කරලා දෙන්න.
ඉතින් මේ සාධාරණ ඉල්ලීමට
They need to listen to these reasonable demands. Today, education is in crisis. Why is it that the government, which allocated 4 to 5% for education during the war, has reduced this allocation to 1.86%?
තිබෙන්නේ කියන ප්‍රශ්න තමයි තිබෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, the protest march led by the Inter-University Students Federation commenced from Peradeniya and reached Kaduganawa via Pilimatalawa. The protest march carried out by the university lecturers ended in Ambalantota today. The protest of the students ended in Mawanalla this evening. Meanwhile, lecturers of the University of Kelaniya convened a media briefing today.
කැලණි විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ උපකුලපතිතුමා ප්‍රකාශයක් කරමින් කියා හිටියා
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Kelaniya made a statement that more than 200 lecturers of the University of Kelaniya are refraining from taking part in this strike action and are engaging in normal academic activities. Such an environment cannot be witnessed in this university. We state with responsibility that the academic activities have come to a standstill owing to this trade union action.
සියලුම අධ්‍යයන කටයුතු අඩපණ වෙලා තියෙන බව අපි තාම පැහැදිලිව වගකීමෙන් යුතුව ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
Meanwhile, the All Ceylon Independent Students Movement lodged a complaint with the Human Rights Commission today, calling for the protection of their fundamental rights, which they allege have been violated by the lecturers' strike action. This has turned into a film and this strike is dragging on. The Inter-University Students Federation is now supporting the strike carried out by the lecturers. Everyone is violating the education rights of the students. Today, those who are attempting to throw our children's future into darkness have commenced a journey that will take them not to Colombo, but to the pits.
මේ රටේ අපට අවුරුද්දකට ආදායම බිලියන 6000යි.
The country's annual income is 6,000 billion rupees. The GDP is 1,000 billion or 950 billion. That is 14%. They say that they want 6% for education. They must be taken to Angola and have their heads checked. They are traitors who bow down to foreign powers and are funded by foreign forces. I am Mervyn Silva and I am saying this. I am not afraid of them. A man must be brainless to say things like that.
මේ කියන්නේ මර්වින් සිල්වා. වෙන කවුරුත් නෙවෙයි මම මේ බය නැහැ. එවුන්ට මේක මුලේ තියෙන මිනිහෙක් කවදාවත් කරන්නේ නැහැ.
A protest march was held in Colombo today against the anti-Islamic movie produced in America.
The protest march commenced from the Kolpeti Junction. Governor of the Western Province, Alavi Maulana, and Azad Saleh took part in the march. The group attempted to make their way to the American embassy, however the police took measures to barricade the road. A tense situation arose when the protesters attempted to break through the barrier. According to the organizers of the protest, a few individuals were allowed to enter the US embassy in order to hand over a letter. Insulting religious leaders does not fall under freedom of expression. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have said that they condemn the movie, but this has been done merely to stop the Muslims from protesting. However, this cannot be done. Please remove this movie from YouTube.
Azad Saleh, who contested from the Sri Lankan Muslim Congress for the Eastern Provincial Council, convened a media briefing today.
Muslim Congress ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක ඉවත් උනේ ඒගොල්ලන් ඉල්ලපු අර අම්පාර දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ආසන 6ක් ඉල්ලපුවාම ආණ්ඩුව.
The Muslim Congress withdrew from the government because when they requested for 6 seats from the Ampara district, the government gave them only 4. But by then we had given up all our posts. We were prepared to contest as 3 separate independent groups. 2 parties came forward from that area and I resigned from the government to contest as an independent group. I resigned before Hakim. When we were to hand over the lists, Hakim spoke to me early morning and said not to destroy the election by contesting separately and to get together and contest as I had suggested.
ලෑස්ති වෙනකොට තමයි උදේ පාන්දර මම හකීම් මහත්තයා කතා කරලා කියන්නේ ඔබතුමාලා ස්වාධීන කණ්ඩායම් දාලා මේ ඡන්දේ විනාශ කරන්නේ නැතුව වා කියපු විදිහම අපි ඔක්කොම එක්කව වෙලා මේ තරඟ කරමු කියලා.
And on to sports news. West Indies and Ireland are facing off in the final Group B match of the ICC World T20 at the R. Premdas Stadium in Colombo in a decisive encounter that will decide who will qualify for the Super 8s. We now cross over live to Sports First's Aaron Rajaratnam, who is at the R. Premdas Stadium for the very latest on the match.
Well, thank you, Ravi. It's match number 11 here at the Premdas Stadium in Colombo. This is the third and final game in Group B. West Indies takes on Ireland with a Super 8 stage spot on the line. Australia, who previously beat the West Indies and Ireland, have already qualified as group leaders. Well, this match has registered 19 overs per side. It was short interruption caused by rain earlier in the evening. West Indies won the toss and elected to field first, and their decision paid instant dividends as Fiddle Edwards bowled Irish skipper William Porterfield for a duck off the very first ball of the match. Paul Stirling and Ed Joyce then steered the Irishmen past 30 runs before Joyce was bowled round the legs for 17 runs by Windies mystery spinner Sunil Narine. Shortly afterwards, Ireland lost their third wicket, and it was Paul Stirling who was dismissed for 19 runs by West Indies skipper Darren Sammy. Stirling miscued the ball up and into the waiting hands of Chris Gayle at mid-wicket for a soft dismissal. Chris Gayle, who usually entertains the crowd with his batting, dismissed Gary Wilson for 21 runs and brought the crowd to its feet with a Caribbean-style dance of his own. Kevin O'Brien and Trench Johnston are at the crease at the moment, trying to get their side to a total big enough to challenge the big hitters of the West Indies batting lineup. Ireland were 96 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in the 16th over moments ago. I'm Aaron Rajaratnam reporting for Sports First from the Premdas Stadium in Colombo. It's West Indies versus Ireland.
Thank you, Aaron, for that comprehensive update. Now, there are just 2 more days for the ICC World 2020 to reach the next stage, the Super 8 round. What teams have already booked their places in the Super 8s of this year's ICC World 2020? Here's a look.
"12 teams battled it out under 4 groups in the preliminary round of the ICC World 2020. India and England qualified from Group A to the Super 8 round. Group C saw South Africa and Sri Lanka making it into the Super 8 round, leaving Zimbabwe to crash out of the tournament from the group stage. Australia have already secured its spot in the Super 8s from Group B, while the winner of today's match between Ireland and West Indies will join the Aussies. New Zealand have advanced to the Super 8s from Group D, with either Pakistan or Bangladesh due to take the remaining spot.
The match between West Indies and Ireland today will be crucial for West Indies because they must win the match. I don't think it will be easy for them to win. The Ireland team will give them a good fight. Also, there is a match between Bangladesh and Pakistan. If Pakistan wins that match, they can advance to the Super 8s. But if Bangladesh wins, the net run rate will have an impact.
The synthetic turf at the Nandi Mitra Ekanayaka International Hockey Stadium in Matale is still not renovated. It has been over a year since news first revealed that the lifespan of the synthetic turf was over. This is the situation today. Despite the state of the synthetic turf, the National Schools Hockey Championship was conducted at the stadium last week. Why is this synthetic hockey pitch being neglected?
And that was a look at our primetime news tonight.
But before we go, just a reminder to stay abreast of the latest news. You can now subscribe to News First Alerts on your Dialog mobile.
Simply type NFU and send to 678 to subscribe.
I'm Ravi Gamage.
And I'm Punshani Evirasinghe. Good night.